talk about the VOD and the silver screen. Kevin and Tom and Joe know all there is to know, from masterpieces to deep fried tacos. And if the movie sucks, you might hear them say, there's no telling where the guys will take you. Get ready for a spoiler. Won't say it twice, cause we already warned you. Better watch out, it's gonna ruin the plot. Real spoilers. Real spoilers. Real spoilers.
Broadcasting from the lush but not lavish studios located in the basement of the O'Keefe Institute for Advanced Film Snarkitude, this is Real Spoilers, episode 788.
No. 787, a palindrome.
I thought it was 787 last week.
I made a folder that said 787 and it didn't tell me it already existed, so I figure it's got to be 787.
Then I'll change it back to 787.
Sometimes I think you change the number proactively and then you change it again.
I didn't use my Word document last week because I had to work the circus, so I didn't even access this.
You know what? It's funny. We've had the same conversation. Every time you get the number wrong, you say, I didn't use my... There's something in that pattern of events that happens to where then it ends up going 2. I don't know why.
Yeah.
Maybe you change it thinking, I didn't do it, but then you did it again. Like you do that twice. Like, I wasn't here last week, so I have to change it.
Well, at least we know that he has a pattern.
Yeah, right. Because it's funny because we have this exact same... Do you remember when I go... When I go... maybe you changed your document. And he goes, no, because I didn't. It's the exact same conversation.
It's the old, whenever I would forget something, my parents would be like, what were you doing? I was like, nothing. Something else. He's
Same
like,
thing I'm always doing.
Yeah, right. Stop doing that and do whatever.
Our 1000th episode, like Simpsons clip show.
Oh, yeah.
It's just going to be full of all these things. It's going to be Tom going, I didn't use my document.
But you need to go back to episode 1. You need to listen to every single episode.
I better start a year ago.
So I'm sure that was a fascinating conversation.
Yeah, right.
For the listening public.
You're welcome.
So
to our new listeners and viewers, subscribe and like if you'd like more of this witty banter.
If you like more of me just trying to figure out how to work a Word document. They're like, God, I knew he was old.
Old man yells at cloud.
I didn't think he was that old. So Godzilla, this movie.
Someone said the X is silent?
Guardians of Middle-earth Volume 2.
Yeah, like
are you going to tell me this isn't a Guardian? This isn't a direct.
It wants to be
very badly.
But someone told me, someone online, I could not tell if it was, just trying to stir the pot or whatever. But someone seriously was like, "It's the X is silent," and then they referenced an article where someone who worked on the movie. I don't think it was the director.
Silent?
Yeah, I think you're supposed to say Godzilla Kong. Like, I mean,
well, that's stupid.
It's like,
and then the guy goes,
I think, did they get married? I mean, love is love.
No judgment.
That's a bridge too far for me.
But then the guy went on to cite, well, every time whenever I watched Batman v Superman, I never said the V.
So you said Batman Superman?
And I'm like, that's insane. That is the one person in the world who has never said the V or versus.
It's I'll acknowledge that there's an argument to be made that the X is silent, but to say that because the V was silent, but that's not true.
They're saying every time a letter is between two names that you just make it silent.
Yeah,
the argument.
Wow.
But anyway, then it was like one thing after another. First of all, I'm like, no way that X is silent. And then he's like, but the V is silent. I'm like, no. In the years since that movie's been out, have you heard one person go, that movie's called Batman Superman?
Never. No. It's be it Batman versus Superman or BVS.
That guy has to be a troll. But he never
is he a Snyder
himself.
Bro?
No, but
then
I think
yes, he's a troll. They all are.
But really, just beginning with that, why would you create a movie whose title is instantly confusing on how to say?
So it's, first of all, this movie's wild. The fact that we got Godzilla -1 this year, and then this comes out, it's like, it is, I might catch for this. It is the epitome of America, right? Japan makes this very character-driven story about guilt and honor and family.
And now we're back to get these people off my screen and let the monkey punch the dragon.
And then we get to this one. It's like neon colors and explosions.
I had a great time with the badass fight scenes in this movie. I had so much fun. And then they went back to these characters, and I'm supposed to know that this character was in Monarch,
So
and Ego My Lego was here, and
I didn't
this 20
care.
years ago. And I'm like, oh my
This was the
God.
first time where we went back to the people, and I was like, all right, I can hang out with them for a little. Dan Stevens knew what movie he was in.
Thank you.
Is he not Star-Lord?
He's the veterinarian.
Yeah. I would say not Ian Malcolm.
I love Dan Stevens. He makes weird choices
He
in
does.
weird movies. I loved him when he was Xavier's son in Legion.
Spoilers
I
for-
loved it when he showed up in
The Guest.
Well, he's great in he's great in everything. He's great in The Guest.
Beauty and the Beast.
Beauty and the Beast. He's good. I like that new song they did. And then what is the one where the Eurovision?
Oh, I never
He plays
saw Eurovision.
the foil to Will Ferrell and The Notebook. Rachel McAdams. That's right. He plays the foil that like they're up against him, and he's this just silly European, like this big money, big sets and all this stuff. And he's like they're the one they're trying to beat really, and he's hitting on Rachel McAdams, but Will Ferrell and her it's hilarious. So he shows up in these weird, goofy roles, and I loved him in this.
He was great.
Give me a movie with that guy.
Yeah.
So, but he's doing something different. He's doing something you care about.
I couldn't stand him.
Really?
I thought it was so just like you want to be Star-Lord.
That's the thing. This whole movie wants to be Guardians of the Galaxy so
Well,
bad.
I've never seen an 80s movie set in present day until now.
You saw Guardians of the Galaxy, didn't you?
But I don't know. That movie doesn't feel... I don't know. There's something... That movie's so unique. And I can see where you could draw the conclusion this is like Guardians light with the style. But I really like the 80s style and the vibes of that.
So that's Adam Wingard. Adam Wingard has always had one foot in that 80s.
Yeah, he loves
world,
the stuff,
the
right?
synth wave,
Yes.
stuff, which I was like, if we never don't do needle drops, stop it, because these are terrible. But if you just stick with that synth wave score, I'm in.
Oh, the score's great. The score's cool. The 80s stuff is cool. I thought Trapper, the Dan Stevens character, was cool. But other than that, here's I think the major problem. I think it's kind of cool in theory what they've tried to do by connecting all these movies. This is the MCU for Godzilla and Kong, right?
Yeah, which is fine.
But it's fine if you can get people to care enough, because what I realized was this movie is like what non-Marvel people think about Marvel. I have to watch this and watch the TV because to me, I don't care enough. Like, I have fun with these movies, but I watch this movie and I go, who's that? Were they in a movie? Oh, there's a TV show I have to watch. And I go, I don't care about any of that.
How does this tie into the show?
Oh, it ties way into it. There's a 30-minute Screen Rant video that I watched twice to try to understand. And
I watched the show.
Yeah, but Monarch, I don't know. It's just how Monarch got...
Hey, man, it had Kurt Russell in it. I'm in.
Okay. I didn't watch the show, and I didn't even know it existed till I watched the recap video. Does Kurt Russell play older Wyatt Russell?
Yes.
Okay, that's brilliant.
Yes.
I'm not going to watch the show. I don't care about
Wyatt
it.
Russell plays the same character. Wyatt and Kurt Russell are the same character.
That's genius casting.
Wyatt
That's
Russell,
cool.
in the Vietnam era, and then we flash forward to current day, and it's Kurt Russell.
That's amazing. Use these actors that are these like multi-generational actors. Use them like that.
Put those nepo babies to
damn
good
it,
use.
you stole my.
But seriously, like if you have a guy that looks like
of
his
all
old,
the actors, you could get the Eastwoods. Scott Eastwood looks.
Does he?
He looks. If you go back and look at Clint Eastwood when he was.
Yeah.
He looks identical. But if there's two actors in Hollywood right now, father and son, that could pull this off, it is Wyatt Russell and Kurt Russell.
and Wyatt Russell's in the Marvel stuff, so he's got that boost of popularity and everything. So anyway, I thought that was fascinating. I go, okay, that's cool. That's a great decision. But when I watched this video, because to follow this, and I go, yeah, this is what it's like for a person coming into Marvel movie 25 and going like, what? Who is this? In like this movie.
Who's the character that is from the show?
I don't know, but I don't know if it's like someone's research got passed on. But
okay.
But I don't know. I tried to watch it. I can't follow it, but I've like never watched those things.
Yeah.
And so I couldn't tell you, but the point is that like I can't follow it after watching this recap, and certainly in the movie I wasn't picking up on, oh, this is whatever. Like, where's Millie Bobby Brown? She was just in the last movie. Shouldn't she be fighting in this somehow? Like, where did she go?
She's making Stranger Things.
But you introduce these characters and you want them to be all connected, but how are we not? She was in the two of them, right?
We haven't seen.
Yeah, she's in the. And she
the
Bryan
Gods of the
Cranston's
Monsters.
daughter?
No, she's Vera Farmiga's daughter.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And then
But
they
Vera
were in the
Farmiga
last
turns.
one, right?
No, I don't think so. Well, Vera Farmiga's not. I think she died.
Who she?
So
they
wait.
weren't-
Okay, so in Godzilla, it was Kraven the Hunter
Yeah, Bryan Cranston and Aaron Taylor Johnson was the son.
and Elizabeth Olsen. Elizabeth Olsen
Yeah.
and Aaron Taylor Johnson are husband and wife,
Yeah.
which is awkward considering
Right.
brother and sister, not
Yeah.
long before that. The second one is I don't even remember who's maybe that's the one with Vera Farmiga and Millie Bobby Brown, and then we get Kong. We get Skull Island.
Skull Island was awesome.
Only one that's great.
And,
Well,
and,
that's
and remember, then they go, oh, and Tom Hiddleston plays. I go, Tom Hiddleston was
Tom
in these
Hiddleston,
movies?
Tom Hiddleston, and Brie Larson,
Right, and Samuel L. Jackson.
are in. Well, he doesn't make it out.
and
of
John
that
C. Reilly.
John
and-
Goodman.
And John
Oh,
Goodman.
yeah, John
Right?
Goodman.
Like, that movie was awesome, but it was so long ago now, and there's been so many of these other movies, I didn't even remember that they were part
Kong
of the...
is the
Skull
best.
Island is the only one of those movies I bought.
Yes.
Like
It's so much
that
fun.
movie was a blast.
Yeah, that movie
Yeah.
was awesome. But, so my point
So
is, like...
this girl is from that island.
Yeah, I do kind of recall that they found her...
because she could talk in sign language and Kong
Right.
knew sign language.
But
or
she
something.
doesn't. But that girl, we don't see that girl on Skull Island because Skull Island is during Vietnam. Skull Island is like a prequel.
Oh, no, she's from Mid-Earth.
She's from the last movie.
But she's not from
Hollow
Skull
Earth.
Island. She's from
No,
Hollow
she's from
Earth.
Skull Island. She's from because they
No,
say
her people are on Hollow Earth, right?
no.
So
There's
her,
two.
her ancestry, I guess,
Yes.
is in Hollow Earth.
Okay.
But
the-
like she did not live in Hollow
Okay.
Earth.
When they give when Rebecca Hall gives that just ridiculous, information dump.
These characters only talk in exposition.
which is why it's unbearable because
Yeah.
you don't care about them. So what Godzilla -1 did was to introduce you to a story and a character who are going through these things and suffering from loss and
And the
having to find family.
movie is not
and-
about Godzilla. Godzilla is a force of nature
Right.
off in the distance.
But you care about the characters.
Yes.
These characters that they're trying to shoe into this 6-movie TV show universe, whatever, I don't care. I can't follow them. I don't want to. And this brings me back to what we talked about on the Patreon. I know, Tom, you haven't seen those episodes or heard them, but we talked about Phase 1 and how those Marvel movies were so simple. And like, yeah, it's cool they built an Endgame, but everything past that is so convoluted.
Yeah.
And you watch Phase 1, you're like, dang, these were just fun, enjoyable movies
Right,
that you
right,
didn't
yeah.
have to know 27 movies.
And
Yes.
you know that's the same problem the comic book industry as
Always.
a whole struggles
Why they have to
with.
reboot, 'cause
and it's
you
why
can't
they
follow.
reboot all the time.
Yeah.
That's
I
why
gotta
you
tell
got
you-
Crisis on Infinite Earths and
I've been reading X-Men since 1990, right? When that X-Men #1 came out, everybody that's really where I start reading the X-Men. That
why they did it.
That book has been rebooted, so like they're doing it again now. They're
Yeah.
about to reboot the entire line because the story got so convoluted. They're just like, I don't know how to write us out of it. Reboot it, and we'll just start over.
I don't know how much longer they can go on with this universe and keep
how much money
connecting
did it
them.
make?
I mean, like 90 million, I heard
Opening
worldwide.
day?
Thursday, Friday, whatever. But that's the number I saw initially. But which makes sense. Like, it's an action movie, international numbers.
Godzilla. I mean, Godzilla
Yeah.
is and Kong are both
But
very
I
recognizable.
enjoyed the action. But again, like, the human characters are the same thing we've said with every one of these movies. Don't care, don't need them. I wish they would have just given us a silent movie with monsters.
I was thinking
punching.
that halfway through this movie, I'm like, you know what would be cool? A Godzilla movie, a Kong movie with no people in it.
Just smashing.
and just
Yes.
and do it like almost like a Disney nature movie.
Oh, that
You
would
know?
be
Because
wild.
why? Because what were the best parts of this movie? Kong going to Hollow Earth and with no words, and you could tell
Yeah.
what they were saying. You could
Yeah,
tell
you
what they
knew.
meant. It was great. I go, give me an entire movie with just the Kongs and just the what's the
Not
word
good-
for
not-
monsters?
Oh, kaiju.
Kaiju. Give me the kaiju. Give me the Kongs, and like tell the story visually, just like a silent movie. I mean, you've got that guy Ben. I can't remember his name on Twitter that redid Batman '89 as a silent movie. Which
Oh,
is
is that right?
amazing. And just in black and white, and it cuts to cards for like dialogue, even made it like that. But it just shows you when you make a powerful movie, and you have a director that knows what they're doing, they give you enough shots and everything where you can tell the story even without dialogue.
I was just thinking about the director, just the directors in general, right?
Yeah.
Like, we talked about Marvel and the money balling in the very beginning. This is totally off topic, but it made me think about it. I'm surprised that Marvel didn't go after Adam Wingard, who has, say what you want about these movies. He's proven himself that he can tackle.
Like the VHS guys.
Yeah.
This is all the...
Or, who's the guy that did The Mummy?
Oh, who did
Steven Summers. Why did Marvel not go after Steven Summers?
Yeah.
That's a good point,
Or
yeah.
and I think Justin Lin is rumored to be the new director of Spider-Man. And it's like, though, to me, that moneyballing to get Justin Lin is exactly what that is.
Yeah.
Right? That guy can carry a franchise. He's a very capable director, but he's not going to cost you an arm and a leg.
Right.
You know?
He's not above the title director.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I think that Adam Wingard, with these movies, they are what they are. And I think trying to handle just the scope of these movies at this point, I think he does a pretty good job.
I think he does a great job directing this movie. It's the fact that they have to write all this exposition so you understand 7 movies, when it's like, if you just showed me Godzilla sleeping in the Roman Coliseum, he's getting up,
That's such a
Kong's on Hollow
ridiculous-
Earth, and he finds a portal, and they're going to go fight each other and monsters. I'm like, I'm in.
But
Don't tell me all this.
What
other
is
stuff.
hilarious? So basically, we'll just burn this right now. Back in the past, there were 2 sets of apes, right? There were the Kong apes, and then there were these red apes.
And
I
when a
guess.
mommy ape and a daddy ape love each
and
other.
there was this the
Special hugging.
that's right. Night swimming is
night swimming.
yeah, it's a Kevin Smith joke. There was
I wish he directed that movie.
that'd have been crazy. What? Oh, night swim.
Anything was Wyatt Russell in that?
Yes. There's the Scar King wanted to take over the Earth for whatever reason. Godzilla back then forces them back down, puts them in this little hellscape, I guess. Lava is all over the place, and banishes them, and they can never get out. And then they get out, and the only one that can put them back is Godzilla.
They can never get out.
And then they get out.
They get out.
And they get out.
I think the main thing is that the Scar King wants to find a portal to get out of
Middle Earth.
Hollow Earth. Yeah, I can't ever remember either. It is middle. It's
Is
in
it
the middle of
okay?
Earth.
Is this? I've had to in this movie specifically. I have.
Are you asking me to explain the lore? 'Cause
No,
there's a
no, no, no,
20-something
no,
minute
no,
video, and
no,
I don't
no,
know
no.
the answer. Yeah.
But I've had to say to myself, "This is the multiverse," because they killed everyone in Rio de Janeiro. There's nobody left.
Oh, I know. Like
There's nobody left.
They never show you people.
No.
I also thought this probably wasn't the best week to make a movie with no fewer than 5 bridge destruction.
But
Yeah.
they can't. I mean,
I don't know, man.
I can't change the release schedule.
No.
No, I
That's
get that.
true.
But I was just
it
like,
is
They already
awful
changed
timing.
it once. This has been on the docket for a year.
Oh, yeah.
This is awful timing.
bad time.
It is, but that's
There's
also-
one scene where Godzilla's just walking through bridge
I
after
know.
bridge after bridge.
I thought the
destroying
same thing.
them.
I was like,
and why is Godzilla a solution? Like the problem, the solution is worse than the problem.
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
when
yeah.
it's like, oh, we have this one monster who just kind of lounges around and destroys things, and every time he gets up to take a pee, but
Yeah.
but like once every 4 years, another monster shows up and he'll kill that monster. So like that's a win,
Yeah,
right?
But those
right.
monsters,
The ends
a win.
justifies the means.
no, those
it does not.
Those monsters are going to destroy the entire Earth. Like those ones,
So we're gonna sacrifice an entire town, an entire city.
you don't have a city if the Earth doesn't exist. Those
Well, you don't
monsters,
got a city
which
now.
Farmiga, I believe, is the one that unleashed
Yeah.
them all.
She does.
I think the other problem I have, and I know you can't apply too much logic to these movies,
Yeah.
but it gets harder. Like in the 60s, kind of like all we had were bullets.
Yeah.
Sure,
and
sure,
I
sure,
believe that a bullet isn't going to take one of these creatures out.
Yeah.
But now we have so much more than bullets. Like we have better bullets, and we've got like
Bigger
better
bullets.
bombs, and they would be like, well, what if we like actually gave this thing cancer, or I don't know,
Yeah.
but like,
But the bombs charge him up.
but then they would have, you could bioengineer something. You could just, like
There's something.
I just don't believe in today's world that we wouldn't have some sort of capability to take.
Well, they were
these
supposed to.
things
Remember,
out.
they say that in this. They were
Yeah.
building it, and the government's like, no,
But here's
too
the thing.
much.
At
It's
the
like
end,
that didn't happen. The government's like, no, keep building it.
What faced with a worldwide threat, a government would
Screw it up.
screw it up.
this is Nick Fury.
I gotta call
we
bull-
took Nick Fury. We took the Chitauri weapons and we're making weapons.
Yeah, but
to
Nick
keep-
Fury made the weapons. Nick Fury followed through. In this one, when Dan Stevens is like, "What about Project Power Glove or whatever the fuck that was called?" And she's like, "Well, no,
which is badass. Everything about the cool
I got no problem with the power
monkey
glove.
mech hands punching dinosaurs.
It's
like,
the fact that Rebecca Hall's like, the government didn't like the idea of building bigger weapons, so they told us to stop. It's like,
right. It would.
When has the government ever not wanted to build a bigger weapon?
That's what I'm saying. So it's like, it would be just like Nick Fury. It would Shield would be building them,
Yes.
right? You know,
Yes.
but it's okay. You can't apply logic. The movie is supposed to be the dinosaurs punching monkeys.
Totally.
It's cool. It's just I think that they need to lose the idea of this universe, or at least having to have so much connective tissue. Just make these badass movies, because I had so much fun when it was the animals or the monsters, if you will,
I mean,
not the car commercials.
yeah, well, but it's
the way it's parked perfectly
On the soccer field,
Yeah.
on the soccer field. But part of me wonders if Adam Wingard, being an indie director,
Yeah.
is just like, oh, you want a car commercial?
I got your car commercial.
Okay, we'll hover on it like this and see what people think of this.
It was wild to watch them in Rio de Janeiro again, Fast and Furious, right? The whole last one, right?
I
Wasn't
can
the-
only think of Fast when
the
they cut
whole
to the
last one.
statue.
Yes, right.
I'm like, oh,
but these two titans.
When they cut to the statue, I thought, is Godzilla going to fight Jesus? Because
Just in time
that's
for
why
Easter.
it's Easter weekend.
I am here for it. I'm like, you know what, movie, you have won me back.
That's
You know
why he's
what?
been charging up.
Dom and the Family versus Godzilla. That's how they take him out.
Godzilla's gonna lose.
That's how they take. I know, but no. Well, Godzilla's gonna lose, not
No.
die.
Yeah, then it was going
And
to
then
join
Godzilla
Godzilla.
will
family.
become part of the family.
I was talking to someone the other day. I think Katie had skipped the last two Fast and Furious movies, and she was watching them just.
So wait,
cracking-
Hobbs and Shaw,
She's
or
so lucky.
yeah,
No, she was watching them and cracking up, and I'm just like, "What is so funny?" and I'm like, "Oh, you never saw these?" And she thought how ridiculous they
They're
were,
just so bad.
just so preposterously
Yeah.
ridiculous. And then it was either her or someone else, but it was probably her. And she's like, "Wait a minute." So he's gonna become family, like after all this. I'm like, "Yep, that's what's gonna happen."
just
They're
wait for
all
the next
gonna
one.
become-
Idris Elba shows up.
And then John Cena's dead. Oh, bless your heart. And I'm like, the formula has become so predictable at
yeah,
this point. Where
I
how
can't. I'm kind of glad there's only one left.
well,
Well,
sure.
I'll believe when I see
hopefully,
it.
hopefully
Next
one
time
left.
Vin needs a new vacation
Yeah, right.
home.
He's like, we're doing other Guardians, right? No, no, we're not. So Godzilla is hunting down the Titans
Yeah, taking
randomly
power
throughout.
naps.
Why don't we go around the table and introduce ourselves?
Oh my God, did we not do that?
We did not do that.
Holy, this is Joe.
This is Kevin.
This is Tom. Hey, quick shameless plugs. Don't forget, we're available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever you find a podcast, you can find us. While you're there, be sure and follow us so you never miss an episode. Maybe leave us a review. You can also find us on Facebook at facebook.com/real spoilers. While you're there, like the page, join the group. It's called the League of Show Sharers because we are hoping you will share an episode. People who were kind enough to share an episode last week include Librarian Cynthia, Jason McLean, Chris Valls, Gabriel Lugo, Tammy Lynn Powers Betts, Tom Dowdy, Julianne Jordan, Travis Tewitt, Chris Magic Man, Richard Krotzer, Phil Timon, Taylor Ward, Heather Sachs, Jarpo, Edit Photo Gamer, David Rojas, Spoiler Piece Theater, Ronnie Castle, In Session Film, The Film Bee, Geek to Me Radio, Nostalgia Cast, Ryan Terry, Mike and Oscar, Colby Mack, and Matt Neglia. So thank you very much. Also, don't forget our Patreon, patreon.com/real spoilers, where for $5 you get all sorts of bonus content, and we like you extra.
That's
and
right.
you can watch all of these on the YouTube. Okay,
Back to it.
back
So-
to whatever the hell this movie
Yeah.
is
So
called.
Godzilla. Yeah. Right.
Okay, I could not tell you for the life. Okay, going into this movie and buying the tickets, I
Yeah.
just type in Kong or whatever, I had no idea what the title of this movie was. I still couldn't tell you what the title of this movie was. Like, I don't know.
It's Godzilla, Kong, the battle for something or other.
See, it's just
Still think it sounds like they're married.
Yeah, right. The battle for
this is the same
custody
problem I had
of-
with Ghostbusters when they try to add these different titles, because I could not tell you. It's called Frozen Empire.
Yes.
But for the longest time, I'm just like, I don't know. Like
Ghostbusters 4.
Yeah, but every movie that comes out with the little subtitle that is whatever, it's like, I don't know. Just go back to numbers.
When did we get away from that? When did the numbers stop?
I think there became this belief that the numbers looked like it just really
lesser than? 'Cause
yeah,
it's-
like it just like another
A third
sequel.
one, yeah.
and so
Oh.
they started going with these subtitles. I think there's also maybe they have some sort of market research that tells them that the numbers, especially as they get higher and higher, scare people off.
Because you have to watch 6 movies in a TV
Right.
show.
Yeah.
So let's trick them.
Right.
And they come in and go,
It is funny
"Who?"
though.
Which is dumb because everybody knows that there's a million Godzilla movies.
Yeah.
It's dumb.
Yeah.
Like there are so many.
I think this is called
Battle-
New Empire.
The New Empire.
So there you
Oh,
go.
there
So
we go.
yeah, I
Okay.
just
But I mean,
So here's a game I played while I was watching this movie because I was so bored.
Bubble Witch
Bubble
Saga
Witch.
2.
No, actually, a game I played in my head.
Okay. You got the Elon Musk thing and implanted Bubble Witch
Yes,
Saga in
yeah,
your
because
head?
I'll trust Elon Musk to operate on me.
can't even do an interview.
He can't even make a car.
That's true.
They catch on fire.
Yeah, that's because he bought somebody else's technology and put his
Right.
name on it.
So I was just thinking about Kong, and I was like, is there an older film IP still being utilized
That's
in
a
the
great.
present
So
day?
what year is Kong?
What is
King
that?
Kong.
Is that like 31?
Yeah, that sounds
Yeah.
right.
Dracula.
But that's not a film IP, right? That starts in books
Oh, you mean like something that was created for film?
for the screen that doesn't have. Because I mean, you could be like Sherlock Holmes.
Tarzan,
depending on your
Superman.
your personal beliefs. Jesus.
You go look up that lawsuit between Nintendo and Universal over
For
King
what?
Kong, Donkey Kong.
Oh,
So they had to argue that Kong is not copyrighted, and Universal screwed themselves over because I think it was in the public domain or they didn't register it, and then they did a court case with someone else, and they were like, "Oh no, this isn't a copyrighted whatever." And then Nintendo came in and is like, "Oh yeah,
by the way."
it's not copyrighted or whatever." But anyway, it's a fascinating case, and Nintendo won, and Donkey Kong lived on. But yeah, it was this whole fight.
Universal went after Nintendo. Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, it's totally King Kong.
Absolutely,
Right,
King
and that's
Kong.
yeah.
I mean, I remember playing the game as a kid and being like, "Why did they call King Kong Donkey Kong?"
Yeah, this is dumb.
Yeah.
Because what's a Kong? I mean,
Right.
Kong doesn't mean monkey. It's
No, it's just a
only
name.
associated with King Kong.
Yeah, it's like if Marvel was like, "No, this is Superman."
Yeah.
Right.
What do you mean? They
And
can't
what's
do that?
what's a Donkey Kong?
The guy that throws barrels,
Right? Like,
yeah, that's what that is.
but and did you know that game was supposed to be a Popeye game?
Oh, really?
Shigeru Miyamoto, the creator of Mario, was like,
Is it Popeye and Bluto?
yeah. But he was painting arcade cabinets, and Nintendo needed a new game, and they weren't selling very well. And so they go to Miyamoto and they say, "We need you to create a game." And he starts working on Popeye, and they couldn't get the license, so he had to make
Isn't that
something
wild?
So so he had to make something else up. His game, it was a Popeye game, and so he created, I'll make it a Donkey Kong versus Mario, and that's how Mario gets
It's-
And
invented.
it's funny because there is a Popeye video game that's pretty similar
It came after
to the gameplay.
He still made it. It's Nintendo.
I would say it's very
That's so
similar to the
funny.
gameplay.
That's
'cause
why
I
so-
remember playing it as a kid. I was like, and it was a fun game.
Yeah. So after Donkey Kong came out, then they're like, "Oh yeah, you can license this Popeye game. It's
I bet.
super successful."
I bet, yeah.
They took a whole bunch of old arcade cabinets of a game. I can't remember. It was a shooter, like a ship game.
McGavin.
No,
There
it
is.
wasn't. But it didn't sell, and so they repainted them and turned them into the Donkey Kong cabs, and that's
Oh.
why Miyamoto is now the most famous game designer of all time.
Yeah,
But
he's like,
he was
I'm
like just a warehouse worker guy, and they're like, "Hey, we need a game. Can you come up with one?" And
That was all. I was
That's
just
it.
talking to somebody. You know who David Cho is? The art. He's an artist. He
Sounds
was a comic
familiar.
book
I think
artist
so.
for like a cup of coffee. So what happened was he got commissioned by Zuckerberg to do a mural inside
of
the
course,
before Facebook was a thing.
Yeah, billionaire. He paid in
And-
stock.
Yes.
Yeah.
And he's like,
He's a graffiti artist.
I think
That's
he
the
did-
mural's like a graffiti.
It
art.
is, but I think he did comic books as well.
Oh, okay.
I'm pretty sure he did.
But
Either
that
way.
was his thing. Was he was like a graffiti artist?
Yes.
And Zuckerberg's like, we want a cool art to be in this trendy
But we can't
place.
pay you in money.
Yeah, we'll
so
pay
we'll
you
pay you
in
in stock.
Billionaire.
He's like, I
He's
woke
a gambler. He goes to Vegas and gambles.
He said,
millions of dollars.
I woke up one day and I had $1 billion.
Yeah.
And I didn't know, and I was shocked.
So yeah, he's fascinating on podcasts,
He's like the-
interviews that.
He's like the number. I think it got canceled.
Oh, but
think
he's
so.
done interviews with tons of different people, and he had a gambling problem. If you have all of a sudden $1 billion, and you're
Yeah.
going to Vegas,
Oh.
and they all know you by name, and you're throwing down millions and drugs and drinking and all that stuff, but fascinating life of a person.
Yeah,
to
it's just wild
hear
to
about
think
it.
like I just woke up one day and
Yeah.
I had $1 billion.
Yeah. Which I always think is so crazy. You're this startup. You can't pay a guy. You can't get a loan for $10,000 and keep that billions in stock. I know you never know, but like, isn't it better when you think you're doing something to like, we'll pay you $10,000?
Well, I think you're taking
he
a
would have
gamble,
taken $10,000.
right?
Yeah.
it's it's the whole. I'll take the.
Or he
I'll
would have
take
taken
the,
$2,000. You know,
But I guess stock is like Confederate currency at that point. You're just like, he can make all he wants of it, and and
Never know.
He probably can't get a loan for artwork because it has no.
Oh, sure.
It has like you can get a loan for a building because it's got it becomes its own collateral, but artwork.
But if Zuckerberg could have just paid the guy a couple grand, Zuckerberg would have kept billions and I just think it's so
he's doing okay.
Yeah,
no, I just think it's so funny when that
Yeah.
happens where you're just like, man, and I know you can say about everything. We'll pay the phone guy and whatever. I know that it adds up, but
it's the gamble that Nicholson took. He's
Yeah,
like,
true.
I'll take a back end deal
Yeah.
on that. Or Lucas like, don't worry about it. You keep the movies, I'll keep the toys.
yeah, for sure.
Like it's just
right. If the movie didn't work out,
Well,
he wouldn't have
Nicholson
any-
took a cut of the toys.
Yeah.
Oh, is that what it was?
I mean, I think he got a
merch,
back end
yeah.
deal too, but he got a piece of any merch that had his face on it.
It was
I
the
got
merch
you.
that made him rich.
Yeah,
It was
yeah.
the merch. But you're right. With Lucas, it's the same thing where it's just like Lucas could have made nothing. If the movie doesn't work, well, you're
Yeah.
not anything. But those toys took off and kept the rights.
Yeah.
And Fox was
Congratulations.
like,
Like
damn.
Mel Gibson with Passion of the Christ, and now he gets a cut of every Bible sold, except for Trump's.
Oh,
Oh no,
Yeah.
I'm sure he gets the Trump ones too. I have no doubt. So Godzilla is fighting the Titans. Kong is off in Middle Earth.
Starfire?
That would be great, man.
no,
that's,
the Teen Titans.
that's coming. That's happening.
Starfire.
Yeah, that's Starfire. Is it? But
No, that's what I'm saying. That's the Teen Titans. These
Yeah.
are the Titans.
I can't believe that. Like,
But the Titans, they dropped the teen.
as they got
That's true.
older,
As they
because
got
they
older
weren't
and became
teens
Titans.
anymore.
Yeah.
But they kept the original team, and that's my favorite.
Yeah.
So Kong is in Middle Earth, doing whatever, setting traps and being a
Hollow Earth.
whatever.
Middle Earth is a different IP.
I guess that's true.
Yeah.
That's a very good point.
It's a very different thing. He's not fighting hobbits.
He's not fighting
It would be
hobbits.
much of a fight.
Or orcs.
yeah.
Yeah.
Orc might be a fight, especially if there's a bunch of them. But I really like Kong versus hobbits. Like, my money's on Kong.
Yeah,
that's-
Kong's gonna win that for sure.
Does the perspective screw with you guys in these movies? Because I had a very hard time. The movie's filmed, and when it follows the monsters, they could be as big as a gorilla at the zoo.
Yeah, there's no sense of scale.
Until they throw one into a pyramid and you're like, oh, they're that big? And
Yeah.
I just think it's a very hard thing to do because if you think about it, when they're filming the Kongs fighting each other and the little monkey and all this, dude, like the little monkey's as big as a building.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I thought he was a tiny little monkey.
For sure.
And so do you realize that the camera would have to be like 3 miles away to film them all to where they look normal in the frame?
Oh.
Like, think about the...
But they should have had cutaway shots to show you that.
How big?
Yeah, yeah,
Because
yeah.
I was thinking while I was watching the movie, I have no sense of scale of
Yeah.
how big these creatures are. And then by the time they get out into the real world, it's not impressive. It just looks fake. Like, I hated the CGI in this movie.
I loved the way they made
Oh,
it look like the old Godzilla movies. When you first see Godzilla and it looks like he's a puppet moving or whatever, and
Yeah,
roaring, I'm like,
I thought this was
loved
pretty
it.
well
I guess
done.
I could never look at the Planet of the Apes movies.
yeah.
Fair.
Those things are photorealistic.
Oh, yeah.
You mean the new ones?
right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They
No,
they're
the original. That is photorealistic. 'cause
Yeah.
There's no CGI.
Thank you very much.
but they have a physicality
They
that you
do.
rarely get in CGI, where this never feels like it physically exists to me.
That's interesting because I watched this movie and my takeaway was CGI has gotten so good that I don't notice it.
Well, here's
anymore. It really just
my takeaway is when you don't have any human characters.
Yeah, it's
they're
all CG.
Then it looks fine.
Yeah,
but
it's
as
an
soon as
animated
you,
movie.
as soon as yes, as
And
soon as you start
And then
throwing,
my takeaway is that CGI has gotten so good that we take it for granted, and if
Yeah.
it's not next level good, I'm just like, this is a cartoon.
Yeah.
Yep.
That it's so interesting that because we used to always bag and still do from time to time when it's bad, but like CGI used to look so fake, and then you get really good stuff that now doesn't even hold up that
It
well.
is-
but now like CGI is so next level that we don't know it exists. Do you know how much stuff? Have you seen the thing going around on Twitter from the Endgame behind the scenes?
where it's like it's
It's just green hallways.
Yeah.
And we're seeing New York and taxis here and this and that. There's so much set design now that's full CG
Yep.
that you at least thought they were on some kind of sound stage with real garbage cans and whatever, but it's all CG.
Yeah.
So you don't notice it. And then the guy on Twitter was getting mad because he's like, oh, look what they blah, blah, blah. And then another guy quoted it and go, you're mad because this thing from several years ago fooled you because it was so good? It's like, get out of here.
Yeah.
He was rallying on, oh, it's at a sound stage. It's like, my guy, you just figured this out 4 years later.
Yeah, you didn't walk out
like-
of that movie complaining about how bad
Yes.
Yeah.
the exposition scene looked.
Yeah.
in the office.
Yeah.
I'm interested to see what Superman looks like. Like
Yeah.
I feel like James Gunn does have like a pretty big love for like practical effects.
Oh,
so I'm
yeah.
curious. Obviously, he's not going to throw David Cornsweet like through the air.
Yeah.
Like, good luck, bud.
No, but look at Guardians, and
Yeah.
that is I don't know if we brought it up or I was going to on a previous episode, But if you look at the behind the scenes, the reason why the Guardian stuff looks so cool, it was maybe it was Patreon, because I was like, Thor is on wires in Avengers. He's flying through the air, and that's wire work. Go look at behind the scenes of the Guardians movies. James Gunn has them up on wires. He tries to do as much stuff practical as he can. Now, of course, there's tons of CG and shots that have to be special effects.
Right.
But because you're blending so much of the practical in there and just touching it up with the effects, right? But like Yondu, he really trained an arrow and could whistle. He learned how to whistle it through the air.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Like that.
They actually brought a tree to life.
Yeah. I mean, the guy does everything.
Reanimated a raccoon.
Yeah, definitely. He's a big raccoon rescue guy.
That's right.
But yeah, I think that when you have that blend is really the sweet spot, because you're never going to get rid of CG, but the people that still do practical. And
I think my fear with CG is it's going to become common. Like, it's going to become even more commonplace.
Sure.
I think, you look at Grand Moff Tarkin, bringing him back, or bringing Carrie
Underwood.
Yes.
Mulligan.
Hey, I will.
Grant.
Yeah,
happily.
try it again. Take a mulligan.
Yeah, I would love to. Carrie Fisher back.
Oh, okay.
Right? Like, that is the point where I was like, I don't know, man. Like, this is a little too much.
Well, they're recreating people that can't speak for themselves. You know what I mean? Like, bringing the people back is where it gets weird. And even if it looks good, it's just the idea.
I guess
that
that's where we're headed. You have to believe that at some point
They're gonna get it there.
they're gonna get it.
They're gonna get it there.
and it's gonna happen. And I don't like it at all.
But I will say visually, I loved the 80s aesthetic and the sound. I mean, the soundtrack's not visual, but all the 80s like visuals that went with that soundtrack.
Yeah.
I loved the way that, the love for the original Godzilla and making Godzilla move sometimes, not all the times, but like in that beginning scene when he's like at the Coliseum or whatever and stands up and roars and he like moves stop motion or whatever and walks. I'm like, that's so cool looking.
It's fun. And that's, I think, what I took away from this is I did not expect to have as much fun as I did.
The monster stuff is fun, and I appreciate what they're trying to do with the little girl and the family relationship, but to me it didn't work. And it's so interesting how -1 it worked for me.
It worked perfectly,
and I just could not care less in this.
Because Godzilla in -1 is a background character.
True.
He is just this force
Like
of nature,
Cloverfield.
exactly like Cloverfield.
And here we're here to see Godzilla,
right?
And we don't want to see the humans.
And when I said like this is exactly what, like, it's an American version of Godzilla, where it's like, we're gonna go bigger, we're gonna go louder, we're gonna go more colorful.
So I think like most of the action scenes, honestly, I was just at that point so bored.
Yeah.
It was just loud noise. But I did like that first big monkey fight where he picks up the little monkey.
That was
starts-
hilarious.
That was great.
Oh man,
that was the
just
best
like-
sense that Avengers gag.
yes.
I was just like, oh, this is great. If the movie does this again, like things like this, but like but I didn't find the fights all that engaging. But I never really knew what I was rooting for. Like, am I rooting for Kong? Am I rooting for Godzilla?
I
like,
think
yes.
I
honestly
think Kong is always going to be the good guy from here on. Like,
but Godzilla is also a good guy.
This is Superman versus Batman.
Yeah, Godzilla is the lesser of two evils, I think. Godzilla is dangerous, and that's why they have to be really careful with him. But he is the only one who can stop these other forces.
Well, Godzilla can't be reasoned with.
Right.
At least this girl apparently can talk to Kong and be like, hey, can you not?
Except for the girl can reason with him, too. I mean, Mothra definitely can.
With who?
When he sees Mothra, but then the little girl comes out, too.
Because Godzilla knows who Mothra is.
But the little girl came out. If it was just Mothra, Mothra would have been there. She comes out as like the princess.
I thought that was just like, look what I can do. Like, I don't know.
That has to have some significance. They didn't just walk her out to, like, she was all dressed up and she was like, But anyway, the point is that you're right. He can't be reasoned with except for with Mothra and maybe this princess. Maybe she was just there.
There's this crazy part of this movie where basically Kong has to get Godzilla down to Middle Earth, whatever the hell it's called.
Hollow Earth.
Hollow Earth.
I don't care.
Which I also hate.
Think of Hollow Man.
Okay.
Kevin Bacon.
I don't think we live in a world anymore where we can have fun with the idea that science was wrong and the conspiracy nuts were right.
Which has been this guy's gimmick the whole time.
Yeah, and I didn't like it last time.
Right,
either.
I remember you saying that.
And
That's
I'm
right.
just like, we need to get away from this.
And I do even
kinda
like
gross.
where Dan Stevens is like, why would you don't show that
If you
to
hate
people?
science so much, then don't use the ship to get to Middle Earth. How about that? Right? Like,
But that's one of those things that I did like about that Dan Stevens where what is that actor's name?
Brian Tyree Henry.
Yes, thank you. Where he's taking video.
Paperboy?
Oh, I was thinking he's the dad from Spider-Verse. Isn't he the voice of the dad in Spider-Verse?
Yeah.
I just remember from Atlanta.
Oh, and he's also
Yeah.
in the Eternals.
Now that they're not making a second one, I'm just sad. And
I'm not.
I'm relieved.
I don't need another 4-hour dramatic bullshit movie.
Yeah.
So yes, but he's
He's the MVP of this movie, absolutely.
Dan Stevens is the MVP.
Yeah.
Yes.
God, I hated everything
Team
about that
Dan
character.
Stevens, 2-1,
Yeah, right.
MVP. Because he knows what movie he's in. Adam Wingard is making a movie that knows what it's supposed to be. And I do think he was forced to tell all this BS exposition and tie these things together. But if you gave Adam Wingard a movie and said, go make these things punch each other and have fun with it and put the awesome score and all these visuals, like this movie knows in the monster parts what it wants to be.
Yeah.
And it nails it.
No, I don't disagree about that at all.
And it sucks that it gets so weighed down by them saying we need an MCU.
So there's this scene where basically Kong has to trick Godzilla to come down to Center Earth, whatever the fuck it's called. And
Hollow Earth.
he has to. There's a moment where Kong almost says, "Hey, don't hit me."
Yeah.
Right? Like he puts his hand
Martha.
up and he's yes, that's exactly what I thought.
That's what the joke was with Godzilla vs. Kong.
The problem is Superman doesn't do to tell Batman to stop. At least Kong is like,
Yeah.
"Hey man, don't punch me." And like I thought as I'm watching, I was like, "Well, at least they got it right." Like that's
Yeah. I did the whole time. Kong is like, oh,
yeah, please don't punch me.
yeah.
And then he has.
Oh, dude, when he gets that glove though, that's
but
so
when
awesome. So
when he's
cool.
dragging Godzilla by the tail, just like through the desert, smashing over these
Antiquities of
yes, like the pyramids gone,
Yeah.
Rio de Janeiro gone. Like it's
You know what? It's realistic though. These are two monsters that do not give two craps about these buildings.
I don't need Godzilla and Kong movies to be realistic.
Yeah.
I don't.
Yeah. I don't either.
But we did. It's.
They didn't really knock down a pyramid. It's okay.
Yeah.
I know that.
The
but it's
pyramids are still there.
At the same, that's why I had to stop. Like at
So
one
is-
moment in the
so
movie, I was
Google,
like,
is Rio de Janeiro still there?
there was
Kong really
yeah, did
destroy
Kong
the
really
pyramid?
blow
and then he's like, "God damn it, autocorrect! I don't know how to spell Rio de Janeiro. For once in your life, help me out."
Where did Dom and family go on vacation?
Said everywhere.
Did Kong ruin Big Jesus Statue City?
That's what we're calling it from now. That's a T-shirt.
Jesus
Big Jesus
Statue
Statue City.
Cities.
That was good. That's real
Well, I'm
good.
glad that it
Oh,
worked
man.
out and that you could enjoy this movie.
But it is just that moment where I'm just like, the government's watching this happen. They're like, well,
What
they're
is
all-
the government? Who cares about the government and the people? This movie is about. I'm going to say it again. Big monkey punch big dragon.
I agree
Don't
with
care.
you. I
Except
agree
for
with
when
you.
it's not. Like
Yes,
that's
right.
the problem. And so, like on the one hand, and also don't forget this all started with Godzilla, where like the movie Godzilla, where
Yeah.
it was supposed to be like this serious,
Yeah.
somber take. And
The
this
tone-
is what it would really be like
Yes.
if there was a Godzilla.
There was that
monster.
one,
And it was
there
wrong.
And
Yeah.
King of the Monsters, I think, was the I think both of those came out before Kong.
Yeah, like and then
And
King
they
of
were
the
like-
Monsters tried to have a foot in both worlds,
Right.
And then Kong Skull Island just said, "Fuck off."
We're leaning into it.
Yeah. I think this is just my take, but I think Adam Wingard gets these characters. We talk about people that don't understand the comic books and the
I think that's
characters.
true.
Don't understand. I think he gets these characters, and I think he was handcuffed to this universe, right? Like you have to put in all this crap with this.
Oh,
and-
I see what you're
You know what I
saying.
mean? He was given all this, and what else could he do? Because like the parts that I wanted to see were there, and they were awesome, and there's no way they would have let him be like, well, let's just forget these 6 movies and TV show we built up. Like he had to,
Right.
And so I think that he gets what these movies need to be, other than the stuff he was tied to. Skull Island gets what these movies need to be. I think they need to make these movies about the focus, which this movie's called Godzilla, Kong. It's not called.
They're married now.
It's not called
right.
Godzilla, Kong, Trapper,
Mothra.
podcast guy, the girl, Lego My Ego, Heisenberg.
Lego my ego.
Yeah,
All right.
the Stranger Things.
Oh,
Ego girl.
I forgot she was even in these movies.
Right. That's what I'm saying. She's a part of this universe. And where was she for this big climactic?
Was Kyle Chandler in these movies?
Was that a different one? Because he
I think
wasn't a
he's-
Godzilla.
He's in the. I think he's in the. No, he's Millie Bobby Brown's dad,
There you
right?
go.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Okay.
You're right. Yep.
Man.
But that's what I mean. Is it's like
Lego
I'm,
my ego.
I'm here to see the cool action scenes in this movie, and what I hope for would be more of that silent movie. I'm just saying I loved it. Cut all the human crap out, and you see Kong going on a journey to find his family. That's what I cared about. Kong is alone, and they're like, Kong has no one, he has no family, and that parallels the little girl, and I appreciate that part. And you see him on this journey of trying to find his people, and he does, but it's like, oh, his people.
Well, they're not people.
Yeah.
Well, what do you call it? His. What would you say if you were to say
relatives.
his kind?
All right.
Well, now that sounds.
Hey.
Well, so he's.
Go hang out with your own kind, King Kong.
That's why I said people.
There was a weird moment in this where Kong has a busted tooth. So they call in Dan Stevens because he's a vet, and they pull his tooth out, and they give him like this titanium tooth.
Did you think that was going to come back?
I mean, he says he can bite through a
Yeah.
through a
Did you-
ship.
did you
and I
think
was
that was
like,
gonna come back?
Yes, of course I did.
It's kind of weird that didn't come back. Why didn't they use that tooth that they Chekhov's tooth? And he's like, he
But
could blah 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 with it.
at
I don't
one-
remember him biting someone and then being like, yeah, that tooth.
At
allowed
one
him
point, I
to-
was like, did they just give him a grill? Like, is that what they were trying to do with
no,
this?
they're not going to replace it with a block of wood. He's not George
I know.
Washington.
Well, that wasn't wood.
That wasn't wood.
He never had wooden teeth.
Well,
It was. You know what it was?
It was slaves' teeth.
It was slaves' teeth
oh,
and horse teeth.
oh.
That's what that.
Yeah.
That's yeah.
Why did so it was just rewritten as?
Oh,
being
I
wooden.
wonder why.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
Don't exactly want to, but yes, they
Well,
were
all
slaves'
right.
teeth. Yikes.
so they definitely didn't want to do that.
But I just thought the way that they characterize Kong is the way he moves, the way he acts, I interpreted that as like Adam Wingard thinks that Kong would be a black dude. And I don't know, like the way he is portrayed in his movements, in the way that he kind of reacts to certain things around him, I was like, it's feeling very weird. And then they give him.
I did not get that.
I
at
did
all.
not
Oh,
read that.
man.
Maybe that's a projection. I'm not trying to say it in a bad way, but like I don't know that he was saying that. Maybe that's a read. that
Maybe.
you're just, you know what I mean? Because I don't know. I never in a million years would have thought that was a gorilla.
When they start giving him almost human like facial tics, where it's like, he raises an eyebrow or he gives a little smile. I was like, when he smiled, I was like, don't like that. If Kong could never smile again, that'd be great. In this weird, like,
so you want him like your Superman?
no, the opposite. If Superman could crack
Henry
a smile,
Cavill.
that would be great. That guy's got
Well,
a
this
great
is
smile.
WB, right?
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Henry Cavill's got a great smile. Wouldn't have seen it in Superman because he scowls all the time.
see, Joe goes up to him and goes, "You should smile more."
Yeah,
That's what
you
he's-
should smile more.
It's not sexist if you say it to a guy.
Thank you. Exactly. This Scar King beats up Kong.
I thought it was cool they made him into like an orangutan.
He was definitely a different looking,
Right? Like it was
yes.
cool that it wasn't
Yeah.
just like, oh, another Kong, like of the same exact gorilla looking Kong.
right.
You know, it was cool. He's got the leg, he's got the long
He's
arms.
very
and-
lanky and nimbly.
But like they gave him a cool like,
looked like Freddy
Mortal
Krueger.
Kombat like scorpion chain that had a thing that could control an ice dragon. Like all this is
the biggest titan of them all. That's what that one was.
Yeah. Well, it's all so like this movie's dumb in the best way, right? Like the cool stuff. Again, I don't like the writing about the human characters, but the big dumb action stuff is so dumb, but in the way I want it to be dumb.
Yeah.
I want these movies to be big dumb fun. Pacific Rim, big dumb fun, right?
Yeah, but that human stuff wasn't bad.
Oh, I don't care. Name a character's name. I don't know. Who cares about the humans?
Charlie Hunnam.
Yeah. My point is, but the
Idris Elba.
robot punching robot, cool, dumb,
Right.
cool, right? Dragon, monkey,
All of the above.
fight.
I think
Yeah.
so. That's basically what this is. I mean, we get from one fight to one fight. We're getting down into the Hollow Earth, whatever.
Good job.
Thank
You
you.
got it right that time.
Hey, and all of these, there's a big fight scene down there. So basically, the Kong fights the Scar King the first time, and his hand gets all messed up because it's from frostbite.
Ice Dragon,
Yeah. So Dan Stevens shows up with the power glove, and it clamps onto it, and they're playing like "I Was Made for Loving You" by Kiss, which is just a very strange song to be playing in this moment.
Because I'm telling you, Godzilla and Kong got married.
See?
It all makes sense.
And fine, if they want to. Who cares?
They're married.
It's
now.
fine.
Yeah.
It's fine.
Yeah.
And then the divorce movie will be Godzilla v. Kong.
Yeah.
Right. It's Kramer versus Kramer,
Yeah.
but
It's
with
all thought
Godzilla and
out.
Kong.
It's
Yeah,
all
right.
thought out.
And it's
Sure
silent,
is.
and there's destruction, and there's no
There's
humans.
lots of glaring.
Yeah, right.
They go to Kaiju court. It's all...
Oh man, this
and it's a tribunal with the three-headed one.
King Ghidorah.
Yeah. Doing the three, and one's like...
Tribunal? Is that what you said?
No,
Tribunal.
Tribunal.
Oh, okay.
He's Josh Brolin.
I don't know what I said.
Yeah,
You said tribunal.
Fair enough.
nightmares. So yeah, the fight ensues. This is basically all that we're getting to. Is the fight happens? They're up on Earth. Everybody shows. The Scar King shows up. He's on Earth, and
Every time you say Scar King, I say it in my head to the cadence of Rain King
What's
by
that?
Counting Crows.
I
I don't know. I can't remember that one.
I hate the Counting Crows.
Oh, I like that.
Oh,
So we should say, though, too, that the little girl they found on Skull Island, I guess, the one that could communicate with Kong, she's
Yeah,
the
I'm
last
trying
of her people, the Eerie, or...
well, she's the last of the people from Skull Island, because the people underneath in Hollow Earth.
Yeah,
are the
but we
same
don't know
people.
about them yet. Like, what I'm saying is that...
oh.
What's the main
We
character?
didn't want to talk about people at all.
But we have, for the plot wise, they have to.
Rebecca Hall.
Rebecca Hall is like some kind of expert, or she's been trying to study to understand her adoptive daughter from Skull Island, and she's doing all this reading on the tribe and these news articles. They're saying like this, she's the last of the people, and she's studying all their customs and culture. We'll come to find out her people are actually in Hollow
there's more.
Earth.
Yeah, there's more people there.
And she's worried now that she's going to lose her daughter throughout all this because, why not? She needs to be with her real family,
Yeah.
But by the end of the movie, that it's going to work out,
right.
But
But she is the key to unleashing Mothra, which is like, I guess, the Infinity Gauntlet for our heroes. Which Mothra is the queen of the monsters, and will help Godzilla knock the Scar King back down and put him where he's supposed to go.
it's all prophesized in the cave drawings.
Yeah, we should also say there's a little monkey running around.
Yeah.
That the Scar King kills his. There are moments, to your point, Tom, they could have totally gotten away with not having any dialogue and just shown us this stuff.
Yeah.
Because you put it together, right? The Scar King figures out, we know that that's the kid's mom. The monkey that he kicked into the lava was this little monkey's mom, causing the little monkey to be like, you, and I'm turning on you, and I'm joining
Right.
Kong. Like, it's all...
That's great.
That's what I'm saying about the direction of Adam Wingard, is he was able to tell that story, no dialogue, just in whatever's happening on the screen. So they get up to the Earth, they destroy Rio de Janeiro. There is one Avengers style shot where it's the ice monster and the Scar King, and then on the other side it's Godzilla and Kong. And Kong is riding Godzilla like he's a horse.
Yes, phenomenal.
And I could not.
Their honeymoon because they are married. Godzilla's a bottom.
Apparently.
Yeah.
It was one of those moments where I was like, I had these in comic book movies when they first started coming out. Like, I cannot believe this is happening.
Yeah, it's incredible because what else are you there for? If we're not supposed to see Kong ride Godzilla into battle with an axe, what are we doing?
It's so wild.
That's what I mean. He gets it. Adam Wingard 100% gets
it
these
is so
characters.
wild how different. We've had 2 Godzilla movies this year, and they are tonally
That one is
completely on opposite sides of the spectrum.
180
Yeah,
degrees.
it is
if
wild.
not 179 degrees.
Yeah, right,
different.
right.
But the fight I thought was really good to get Godzilla.
It was, actually, I thought from here when all of our monsters are finally fighting, I was like, okay,
It's cool.
this is fun.
So they're trying to meet up with Godzilla because he's been traveling this whole time. He goes to get this
He's taking out
dragon.
He's taking out a bunch of titans to
get their
build
powers.
Yeah, right.
Right? And so
because he
there's
knows something is coming.
There's this electric dragon, and he goes into the water and fights him and gets supercharged with this radiation energy, whatever, and then gets all like the pink
I
radiation
keep
energy.
waiting for the other side. Be like, whoa, they turned Godzilla pink.
Jeez. It looks really cool when he's all supercharged. His
It was weird.
scales
I
and
don't think I've
everything.
ever seen him. I've never seen him in any other color than blue or white.
I thought they did. Did they do some pink in the last one when he got
I don't
charged
think
up?
so.
Because to me it
I
seemed
thought it was
familiar.
always blue.
Okay, but anyway, he gets all charged.
Kaiju's race for the cure.
Yeah, see, he was just trying to raise funds. He's not
Raise
gonna,
awareness.
He's not going to get him from Egypt where he destroyed
Nope,
their
'cause he killed
pyramids, that's
everybody.
for sure. so they end up meeting with him, and I guess he is at Egypt at this point. Kong goes up to get him. He's got the power glove, like you
what
said.
are the chances that Kong goes up the right portal to wherever Godzilla is?
Well, I think he could detect him or something. I thought there was something to where did Mothra, someone lured him to him?
I
or-
don't know. Kong goes up the portal.
They
and-
know there is some way. I don't know if they have. There's some kind of detection. I thought to where they could sense one another.
Okay.
Because they were like, he knows that he's there and he's going to draw him in or something. I don't know. I know what you're saying, but
I did think I was like, oh, he just came. Lucky for you.
no,
You came
I
up
do
the right
feel
one.
like he knew that he was at the other end of that portal, or maybe like could sense through the portals or look through them, whatever it was. But he's like that. He's in there, so he pops out. Godzilla's there, and then once Godzilla sees Kong.
Right, game on.
Yeah, because I guess I don't remember how that movie ended, but in
The movie
Godzilla v
ends.
Kong,
So I think it ends. Godzilla is they're fighting. They destroy some other.
You don't
port.
say.
Yeah,
That's
they're
a hot
just-
take.
but he's got to still hate him because he sees
What's your
him.
favorite
he's like-
episode of Three's Company? The ones where there was
There's a
like,
misunderstanding.
The misunderstanding that led to hijinks.
Yeah, right. No, I think the end of that movie is Godzilla. Kong has the axe, which is
Oh, he takes him out.
he's supercharged.
That's
it.
why he's mad.
Yes.
He takes out Godzilla because he has the axe.
Yep,
and
yep,
the
yep.
axe is made from like a Godzilla scale or something. It has
That's
power.
what I thought
in the
that
axe.
it was. There's something
Yeah, I think
about
it's one
the
of his
axe.
scales, maybe. So he takes him out with it and knocks him out. So now Godzilla sees him.
Right.
He's like, this guy.
motherfucker.
And they start fighting, and it is awesome. Again, they're throwing people through pyramids, fake CG pyramids, mind you. And this is where I really saw the scale, where I'm like, holy crap. I think in Rio, we saw it on the buildings a little bit, or with the buildings. But is that after this or before?
No, it's during the big fight where they're just smashing.
So
buildings.
Rio's after this?
Yeah, Rio's the
After Egypt?
climax.
Okay. So
because Rio's where all of a sudden it turns
You're
into
right.
Ghostbusters.
Yes.
Where
Okay.
like
Yeah.
everybody's at the beach and the ice takes over.
Yes,
and-
you're right.
Yeah.
The desert in Egypt is.
So you see the pyramids, and they're throwing each other through that. And before, we've only really seen the Kongs fighting and the little quote unquote monkey.
Right.
But when you see him go through a pyramid, and you know how big those are in real life, it's like, holy crap, these guys are massive.
There was one stunt man that went for it. There's a guy on the side, and man, he was doing backflips off.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Isn't it, I mean, he was falling.
Yeah.
But it was like, hey, he's doing it.
Wow.
You're gonna get paid for that, bud.
So they fight, and then this Kong's dragging him away, like you said. But then
I
he
think
wakes up.
that's one of my favorite parts. It's just him just dragging Godzilla.
Well,
behind
because he
him.
punches him with the power glove.
Yeah.
It's a mech arm, essentially. And he punches him, and that's the only way he's able to knock him out because of the strength. But then he wakes up and starts charging, I think. And
Either way, they get down there.
oh, and then Mothra shows up.
Mothra shows up,
Godzilla's
that's
going
right.
to wake up and kill, and he's got the blast thing ready
Yeah,
to go.
yeah, you're
The
right.
atomic breath or whatever power this is. And he's about to kill him, and then Mothra shows up and does the glowy thing.
Have we seen Mothra before in any of these movies?
They talk about Mothra all
They
the
definitely
time.
show her
Yeah.
in like drawing.
I
but
think
don't-
so. Well, it might be the show. Was she in the show?
I don't remember.
Because from what I saw in the recap, Mothra basically essentially like lays an egg and has a cocoon, and when the cocoon awakens, it's the same Mothra, like it's like reincarnation.
Yeah.
So at some point in a movie or TV show, they had to show or talk about Mothra doing this
Okay.
cocoon thing,
Okay.
and then she's supposed to reawaken, and it's the same
Hmm.
Mothra and all that. So she shows up again. The daughter has now been accepted by the people because the prophecy says that a girl will come from the
Skull
above
Island.
Earth or whatever, and come save the people and everything. So
when Rebecca Hall is reading that description, I was like, man, that is very specific.
Yeah,
of
it is.
where that person's coming from.
Prophecies,
Yeah,
man.
right. Yeah, and then they end up going to Middle
Rio.
Earth. Well, they bring everybody back up. So now we've got the tag
Now I
team.
got that song stuck in my head. When my baby goes to Rio.
You get weird songs stuck in your head, man.
I do.
Yeah.
See, and I
Weird
like one of the favorite relationships in this movie that I think they handled very well was the little monkey and Kong, because
Yeah.
Kong becomes his adopted father.
Yeah.
The little monkey is really like, biting him and doing all this stuff, and Kong realizes like instead of, I mean, yes, he does use him as a nunchuck, teaches him a lesson.
He uses him like a slingshot.
Apparently these guys are very strong, so it was just a little not a big deal. But like he doesn't really hurt or kill this little monkey. He keeps like trying to help him, and here, let me
Does he
share my food
spank
with you.
His little monkey.
He did not spank his little monkey.
Hits him real hard though.
Yeah, he does. He does.
So he gives him food. Like the monkey clearly doesn't know how to hunt or
Right.
do any of this stuff, and Kong fights the sea snake thing and breaks it open. And I think it's funny with like slurping the entrails like
biting chunks
noodles or
off of
whatever.
it, yeah.
But he shares it with the little guy. And then when the
Do you love how all the monsters have green blood?
Oh, you're totally right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Get that PG-13.
My wife was like, "Why does everything have green blood?" I'm like,
Yeah.
"PG-13."
Yeah, it doesn't count.
She's like, "Really?" I'm
Doesn't
like, "Yep."
count.
But at least when it's monsters,
Yeah.
that's the difference. If humans have green blood, and you're like, what are we doing? Or black blood, what are
Right,
we doing? But with monsters, you're like, ooh, monster blood.
Monster blood.
Yeah.
Gross.
So then when the bad Kongs are enlisted by Scar King, because Scar King kicks Kong's ass,
Mm-hmm.
'cause this guy knows how to fight. He's commanding the dragon and all that. So now Kong's limping away. The bad Kongs are chasing after him. And then Kong has set all these traps, which I thought was pretty cool. And then they're like, wait, there's a tripwire. They all walk over it. But then the little monkey now, who has like earned Kong's respect and
Right.
Kong's been taking care of him, he then triggers the traps and they all collapse on most of the monkeys.
Correct.
And I just thought it was cool. And then you see the little guy and you're like, yeah, he's a
he
good
does.
guy
He does
now.
the. He does the.
It's
the
a
Kong
woke,
yell.
It's a woke metaphor about the importance of trigger warnings.
I was like,
All this movie's about, man.
like the importance of children.
Woke Hollywood.
That's, I gotta tell you, the Sydney Sweeney thing is my favorite.
Oh.
Of where they're just like, they made her do this movie.
Oh.
What are you talking about? This movie she bought 3
Yeah.
years ago.
This pretty girl must have the exact same political beliefs as me, or my penis wouldn't be hard.
Yeah, I'm sure they all have a
she
chance
was so
with her.
she was so worried. They were so worried that the right wing media was adopting Sydney Sweeney. I'm sure she's like, God, get me out of this. And then the whole Johnny Depp thing.
Oh, it's a-
what? That's
who
even
knows?
more. It's not though. Like she's not. She's like, I'm not doing it. Well, she's like,
Well,
I think.
she says that.
Wow, I think once you say it, once you put it on the internet and say it to, I'm
We'll
not
see.
doing
That's a
it.
whole different mess.
Why were they
with that
going-
guy that's like going after her, saying
For
like,
what?
Saying, oh, I've got all these inside sources, and
They all say that.
I know.
Everybody says I have an inside.
But now
I
source.
have no idea what we're
but
talking
he
about.
probably
Oh well, she was gonna. The rumor was that she was gonna do a movie with Johnny Depp, and people like
so
were
now people are like
flipping out.
very like anti Johnny
Oh,
Depp and
gotcha.
doing a movie with him. But so this guy says he has 3 or 4 sources that she was going to do this, and then it caused all this hubbub and all this negative PR against Sydney Sweeney from people that don't think that's a good idea. And then she had to say like, oh, I woke up to rumors, go see my movie in theaters.
Yeah.
But the thing is, she,
Really smart.
she's smart. So, but here's the thing. If they were in talks to do that movie, her PR team has to be thanking that guy because he just gave them the right answer, not do
Right.
that movie.
Yeah.
So you know, in kind of a roundabout way, it's like, oh, maybe they messed up some announcement she's working on. But if this is the reaction to that
The
announcement,
guy that
that
we're all
broke
talking about
the rumor or whatever,
is her PRist, is her publicist.
oh, he's in on it.
Float a trial balloon.
Yeah,
How people
right.
are going to react to this?
But
I'm not gonna do it.
I do wonder if they do more of that stuff now.
Oh, they do. They
Release, or
absolutely do.
rumors get leaked.
yeah.
And they see the reaction and go, okay, that's all I need to know.
noted.
Yeah.
It's the new marketing. That's exactly what it is.
So big showdown.
Big fight. Little monkey joins in, and
Mm-hmm.
he ends up like breaking the gem that controlled the ice dragon. So the ice dragon is now free to fight on the side
It's
of
a
the
really
good
cool
guys.
fight with all of them, though.
It was. I thought it was well done.
what
It was
I
well
liked-
choreographed.
That scene you mentioned that looked really cool. I like how he pulled the rug out from under us, though.
What do you mean?
Because they go anti-gravity, and so you think
No,
they're
no.
about
This is in Rio.
I know, but we're not there
Oh.
yet. That thing you mentioned earlier with him riding Kong.
Yeah,
And they fall right before you, because it would be so just.
Avengers Assemble.
It would be, you've seen it a million times,
Yeah.
right? And right before they're about to hit, it's a cool setup, and then they go anti-gravity and start
Right.
floating away. I thought that was fun.
Because anti-gravity is a thing in Hollow Earth. I don't know.
Well,
The
yeah,
two triangles.
because you. No. I'm with him on this one.
Yeah.
It's in the middle of the Earth.
Okay.
Right?
So the gravitational pull
So if
split.
you're coming from two different directions,
Oh.
you're gonna reach a point where like
There is
what's upside down and what's right
Yeah.
side up, and that's where there's like kind of no gravity and they kind of float. And then
Okay.
at some point they hit that other thing and then they fall.
They shoot backwards or whatever.
So it does make a certain modicum of sense.
And I think,
I guess.
But they had a contrivance that there were two pyramids that touched or something. They touched.
yeah,
the
yeah,
tips.
yeah. They tried to. Well,
And then,
it's called
And that broke
it's called-
gravity.
It's called docking.
I'm telling you, it's a woke movie.
But they froze it, and then like once they went together, then gravity went
Yes,
all wonky or
yeah.
whatever. So anyway, but back in Rio, really cool fight scene. I think again they're throwing each other through the buildings, and the Scar King seems to like pretty much have the upper hand because he's controlling the thing. And you're right, the little monkey gets it away after Kong.
Smashes it.
Kong punches him or something with the mech arm, and it goes flying.
Yeah.
and then he destroys it.
the little monkey has the axe and destroys it with the axe, and then the ice dragon freezes the Scar King. I thought this was cool.
And they all team up to take him out.
They don't though. Godzilla doesn't really do it. Godzilla's power is to reverse the Ice Age thing.
Well, he roars at him, and it was cool.
That's exactly
They kept
right.
cutting. I like that I like it when all the good guys get to take out the bad guy together. That's a cool kick-ass movie thing, right?
That's
like
one of my favorite-
Kong's gonna hold him, and Ice Dragon's gonna freeze him, and Godzilla's gonna take his tail and go boop and shatter
Yeah,
him. Not
but-
that happened.
No,
but,
I was like Godzilla. Or,
I know he roars real loud. It's cool.
yeah, I guess that's
He
right.
roars at him.
So then, yeah, Godzilla goes back to the Coliseum, which I guess is his home now.
I
where he-
love that he curls up like
Well, you
a
know-
cat in the Coliseum.
So that's Wingard. He was looking at his cat.
Oh,
his
there you
cat
go.
was like curled up in a little thing.
Because that was my read. He moves like a cat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then Kong goes back to Middle Earth and becomes
Hollow
king.
Earth.
Whatever. I
Kevin
assume.
Bacon.
I assume this means that now he's King Kong.
Yeah.
Right?
He's
Like
the
they've-
king of the people.
That's what I'm saying.
Oh,
Is-
sorry.
not people.
King of the Kongs.
But they call this guy the Scar King,
Right.
and now
I think Kong is his surname. I don't think they're all Kongs.
I thought they were
Oh.
Kongs.
I don't know.
I think they
question.
call him Kong because he's a Kong.
What's his driver's license say?
King.
Kong McLovin,
what
Yes.
what did it say before he was king?
Kong,
Prince?
Kong, like Mario Mario.
yeah, Kong. That's his name.
Kong.
But I wonder if there's
No, I think that's great because he's not called King Kong in any of the movies.
he's not.
So now he
But
goes home and
but
becomes
I do
king.
wonder if there's some license thing where they
I know. I was
just
like,
don't.
does somebody else actually own
Oh,
the rights
to
to
King
King Kong,
Kong.
and so they have to call him Kong? Is
Right.
that what's going
Does
on?
Universal not have the rights? I
I
mean,
mean,
again, I know we just talked about the Nintendo
so
thing, but who?
the
has the version
Peter
of this-
Jackson movie is called King Kong,
Right.
Right.
Yeah, because it's a flat out remake of the original King Kong.
Right.
Which that's probably it's Universal probably owns like Disney owns their version of King Kong. So maybe Kong
Maybe
isn't
because of the Donkey Kong suit, like you could call any monkey Kong.
a Kong, but you
But you
can't
could
call
call
King.
him King Kong.
That's what I'm
and
thinking.
that's why you get Kong Skull Island,
Yes.
Godzilla v Kong.
Yeah,
and
yeah, yeah.
That's what I'm thinking.
Kong
So,
versus Kong.
so Universal probably owns the
Long
rights to
Kong
King.
Silver.
Oh,
That's a very different movie.
yeah.
I think I rented the wrong one.
Or did you?
Or did you? And that's
Or
how the
Kaiju.
Yeah. God bless you. And that's how this ends. Is we see that Kong is accepted by the other apes. Godzilla's chilling in the Coliseum.
The little girl and Rebecca Hall have their moment. She's like, "I'm just gonna miss you." And she's like, "What are you talking about?"
I
She's
do
like,
actually. I did like that.
Yeah.
Where Rebecca Hall is like falling on her sword. She's like, "I understand
Yeah.
you're going to leave," and the kid's like, "Are you dumb?
Yeah.
Like I'm going home
She's
with
like,
you."
"I just did this thing to get Mothra awakened."
Yeah,
or
right.
whatever. Like that was cool. And
She
again,
said,
that's,
they don't got Netflix down
Yeah.
there.
but that was cool the way they flipped the script. Again, I do give them credit for some of these like two storylines with the monkey and the adoptive father, and then you have the daughter and the adoptive mother, right? So you've
Yeah.
got this kind of picture of two sides of the family.
Although I hate how they wrote that character like she was 6.
The girl.
Yeah. All that girl's behavior was like she was a 6-year-old.
Yeah, I could see that.
Yeah. It was just very.
Yeah, I don't fit in. I don't want.
But it was cool how yeah, she's from
No,
Skull
I
Island,
get
you
it.
know?
I get that.
But I did think it was cool how again the mother's like, okay, well, I'll miss you, blah blah blah. And she's like, what? No, you're my.
I'm
mother.
coming home
And
with
it
you.
was cool.
And there was no post credit sequence, because I was like, oh,
Embrace that.
yeah, that's
we
what I felt.
We need more of
More
that.
of that.
But I
Not
think
everything needs a post-credit
Right.
sequence.
Doesn't it end on Kong becoming King Kong? Isn't that
Yeah.
the last? This was a really
I mean,
cool moment.
he's standing in front of the
He
people.
shows up with the little one.
axe
What I
and
want to know is what are they still doing? The boss is away, all the bad guys are away,
just hanging out.
because they've got him in this like
It's like lava pit.
mining colony. It's
and
like
then
this.
Mothra puts him back in there. Like Mothra, when they go through like the bioluminescent like thing, and
Algae?
they tear what?
Bioluminescent algae.
Yeah, I guess whatever it was.
It's from Moana.
Oh, yeah. Like they tear through it, right? To go
Yeah.
to walk through it.
Oh,
Mothra seals it back up.
She puts the shield up to protect the people.
Is that what that was? Oh.
That's like her, and I think she hibernates there or whatever. The shield got busted down by the bad guys breaking in, and so she just went up to protect it.
Okay. I thought they were
Like
sealing.
the end of Imaginary.
Yeah.
It's the Guardians of the
Galaxy?
Middle Earth.
Yeah.
They protect. These are like the portals to Earth and stuff.
Yeah,
so
yeah,
like
yeah.
she has to protect it from if
Okay.
there was another monster that would want.
Yeah,
to
I
break
thought
in.
she had sealed.
She wasn't sealing them.
I
in. She
sealed
was-
the monkeys back
No,
in. They're like,
she was-
sorry, fuckers.
protecting
I'm
the
not
portals.
sealing them in. I'm sealing you out.
Yeah.
That's all.
Yeah, I think this is. I believe this is probably the beginning of the summer blockbusters, right? That's fair to say.
Very early, but
I mean,
You normally get like one second tier one in March.
yeah,
yeah, this was a good March action.
yeah.
whatever.
I thought it was.
I had fun with it. Again,
I did have fun as
the
well.
human stuff was a snooze,
I-
but I enjoyed this a lot more
I
than
gotta tell you,
Ghostbusters. I'll tell
there
you
was
that.
one family, and I mean, like not a small family. Obviously, I was at the draft house, and they.
You sure you weren't at the same screening as me?
No, I was.
I was
went-
walking in the
I went
hallway
yesterday.
Okay, maybe they went back.
Maybe.
There was a family no less than 12, but maybe 12 or 15, and like I couldn't
Okay,
get
it
around.
wasn't-
They were doing the thing in the hallway where it's a huge hallway,
Yeah.
but they all are arm shoulder to shoulder.
Like they're like a defensive line.
Yeah, and it's like, guys, I mean, have
It's a good
some
sports reference. Well done.
have some awareness. Like, just leave an aisle for someone. The food people are carrying it, and they're like,
That's what I'm saying. Is like, look, I love the draft house. It's not cheap if you want to get something to eat. I cannot imagine trying
Bringing
to
a family
take
to the
that
draft
many
house.
kids to the draft house. And I heard the dad go, "You can all get something." I was like, "Dude, what are you, Kevin McAllister's dad? Like, what do you do for a living?"
Yeah.
Good Lord. But good for you kids. Like, gobble it up. But yeah, it was fun.
it was
fun.
awesome on the big screen. I will
It
tell you,
was.
this is the difference between. Did you go
Yep.
to AMC again?
Yeah, I did.
So seeing this on their big show, which is essentially an IMAX, it's not technically IMAX,
It's not.
but it's as big as an IMAX. The sound was vibrating the seats.
Yep.
Like Kong would punch and your seat would vibrate.
Yep.
They didn't have special chairs. Like the sound's that good that the whole auditorium shakes.
Yeah.
Like that's how I want to see a movie.
bright.
like
It was
this.
bright. You could see
So- oh my
everything.
God.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
I've quit AMC again. I can't do it. It's so crappy.
take that, Nicole Kidman.
Yeah.
So anyway, I guess that's it for this one. Let's go around the table and everyone can say where to find them.
This is Joe. You can follow me on the Twitter at JoeyButts, BUTTS21, and Letterboxd at the same.
This is Kevin. Follow me on Twitter at Kevin R. Brackett.
And this is Tom. You can follow me on Twitter at Roger Kubert or on Facebook at facebook.com/Tom O'Keefe. You can find the show online at facebook.com/Real Spoilers. While you're there, like the page, join the group. And of course, don't forget our Patreon at patreon.com/Real Spoilers.
And YouTube.
And YouTube. Don't forget our YouTube. There.
Don't do it.
Yeah. So that's it for this one. Thanks for tuning in. And until next time, Oliver, Barbara, and the chandelier crash to the ground.
Get ready for a spoiler. Won't say it twice, cause we already won.